Hi, I'm Angela Barnaby, and this is my instructional technology portfolio. My first topic is social media. So using social media, my 8th to ninth grade students, this is for Algebra 1, using social media, they will use what they learned in class, and they will create their own order of operation problems using Twitter. So each student will receive a Twitter twin, and for a week for homework, they will tweet 3 order of operation problems a night at their partner. They'll have a specific hashtag to use. That partner must solve the problem that were created for them, and they have to create their own problems as well for their partner. And they'll do this every night for a week, and the problems they create will be used on a test at the end. So I'll take all of their problems and I'll put them together and make a test. Here are some examples I made. So this is what an example of what the questions would look like, different order of operation problems in class. We'll go over how to do them. And then this is how the response should look. And that's how they would reply. My next one is blogging. For blogging, this is for 6th grade writing, and the main goal is story elements and grammar. So we're going to be using a class blog, and we're going to first learn about story elements through pictures and stories in class. Like we'll go over exposition, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. And I'll have the students create their own stories, so we'll start creating them in class, we'll write them out. And that day they're going to be blogging a part of their story, so they'll be blogging the exposition, which is the beginning, the settings, the characters, just getting the whole story set up. And that night for homework, there will be assigned a blogging buddy. And that person will go home that night and comment on the blog. They will edit it, they will write good comments or what needs improvement. And the students will do that process of in class writing the next part of the story. So the next day would be the rising action, and the person will go home and comment. And that whole process will be done over 10 class periods. And the final product, the final blog that's edited, will be posted to their blog, and it will be shared with the class. Here's the example of the story we have over here. Billy's story, and then the comment of the peer editing. My next one is my Smartboard lesson plan. Using a Smartboard, students will learn about animal and plant cells through an interactive lesson. This is for a 6th grade science class. The different things we do, I'll show you on this slide. The first thing we're going to be doing is going over the different parts of the cell and where they're located, like the nuclear membrane, the nucleus, the rough ER, the smooth ER, and we'll go through these in class here. And then over here, I'm going to have the students and myself, we're going to come up with our own appropriate definitions for the parts of the animal cell. And then eventually, when I feel like they have a feel for what they're doing and they understand it, we're going to go play this little game, kind of. And the students are going to come up and they're going to touch parts and they're going to drag them to where they belong on the cell. And then they can go up to the board if they feel like someone made a mistake. And the next thing I have to do is draw a class. If I'll raise their hand, someone will raise their hand, who wants to draw the mitochondria? I'll pick someone and they'll draw the part of the mitochondria as a class, and we'll just draw our own cell. And we'll repeat the process for plant cells. And then at the end of this lesson, we'll play the parts of the cell game, and they'll be split into 2 teams, and we'll just play this game. So I'll ask questions, what is the mitochondria, what is the rough ER, and they will answer the questions, and it will be a review game. The next is badges, and this is for 5th grade reading. We're using class badges, and basically the goal of this is they're going to be rewarded badges for finishing books throughout the year. They have to finish 8 books. They must complete 4 fiction, 2 nonfiction, and 2 biographies, and every time they finish a book and they write a book report on it, they'll get a badge for it. Here are my example of my badges. I have the different pictures with them, and I can award them here. I already have one student that has one, and that's just what they look like. The next is digital storytelling. This is for 2nd grade writing. It's basically it's similar to blogging with the story mapping and the vocabulary, but it's a little different. This one is for 2nd graders, and we're going to be using storybird.com. They will have to be able to write a story using a story map and learn vocabulary. So we're going to go over the story map in class. It's more simpler, it's more character setting. What's the problem, what happened, and what is the solution? I'm going to be teaching them that story mapping, and what they have to do is create a digital story about their partner. They're going to be getting a partner and write a story about them, and they have to use vocab lists that we're learning in class. Here's my example of story. I have my story map up here, which is I created myself, and it's character setting problem, and they fill this out for their story. And then we're going to go online on Storybird, and they're going to complete their own stories like I have here. and this is called Billy's Daydreams, and it's a cute little story about Billy, and I think Sandy wrote it. I can't remember who created it. The next is visual learning. This is for third grade science. It's going to be on the solar system. I'm going to be using a Glogster account, so students will learn about the solar system by using visual tools like Glogster and hands-on projects. So my Glogster that I make for my students will be projected, and I'm going to teach my lesson through my Glogster. And it has a video, and it has pictures and my facts on it, and I'll just teach through that. And then eventually my students, I'm going to group them, and I'm going to assign them a certain planet. And out of styrofoam and paint, they're going to have to create the planet, and then they're going to write facts about it and put it on the planet, and we'll hang them around the room for another visual. Here's my visual learning Glogster. I just took screenshots of it. Here's my video here. I have Neil Armstrong. I have a mnemonic device. My very excellent mother just sent us 9 pizzas. Just gave us 9 pizzas. No, just sent us 9 pizzas. Anyway. And then here are the planets. And I wrote little facts and I added pictures about each one, and it'll help them. And while I'm going through this, they will create their own personal visual to help them in the class. It just provides them their own visual for eventually a test or anything. Next is flipping the classroom. This is for second grade grammar, and the idea is adjectives. I'm going to be creating a lesson on YouTube and putting it on our Sophia class account, and it's about adjectives, and I'm just teaching this, and the students will learn what an adjective is and they will know how to use an adjective in a sentence. They'll watch the lesson I recorded for them at home because it's flipped, and in class we will do basically the homework kind of things. Like in class we'll locate items in the room and put adjectives on them, we'll label them. We'll do worksheets about adjectives, and I'll have the students make a poster of themselves and words that describe them and pictures that describe them. And here's my example. This is my video on YouTube that I put, how to find an adjective and that kind of stuff. Here's an example of a worksheet, and I made my own personal poster for exactly what I would want my students to create. Like I put I'm shy, I'm sporty, and I just put describing words. The next is collaboration with Google, and this is for 5th grade geography, and it's going to be on the 7 wonders of the world. They will learn to appreciate the 7 wonders of the world using Google Docs and Google Maps. Each group will be assigned one wonder of the world, and on Google Docs they will have to fill out their chart for their location. So they're going to put location, the histories, little facts, and that'll be on a big Google Doc. I'll show you in a minute. And then also maps, once they have the Google Doc figured out, on maps they will put their information where I started on their specific location, and they will add pictures and their facts to it in the videos. And then with their project they have to create another visual, which is a poster, poem, or it's not really a visual but a song, and they will present that to the class with that. So if you have Machu Picchu, you can create a poster about it and that kind of thing. Here's my example. This is the Google Doc up here. This is the kind of thing they would have to fill in Google Docs, and I can check to see who's doing what, when they were logged on. And then this is the map. I can do the same thing there. But the stars are where the specific wonder of the world is, and the groups will go into their area and they'll fill that out themselves. And I made an example of the Taj Mahal. I didn't put any facts, but I added a picture. And then they'll present that in class, and we'll just kind of have a big map presented in the board. It will look really cool. Next is classroom management. This is less of a lesson and more of just how I'm going to run the classroom. It's for 3rd grade. We're going to be using ClassDojo.com, and it's to have a well-organized classroom. Students will get an avatar on the website, and they will get points for good behavior, and it will be taken away for bad behavior. And they can use those points to cash in for prizes. They can get a lunch with the teacher, homework passes, little other gifts. Here's just my example. Here's my example class I made, and then I could take points. I can give points, and I can take points away. I can give points for helping others, homework, teamwork, or I could take away things for disrespect, no homework, bullying. And the final one is video creation. This is for 6th grade history. On the 20th century, they're going to be learning about different historical events in the 20th century using iMovie. Each group will get a time period, the 50s to the 90s, and they will create a newscast for that specific time period with 3 historical events, fashion updates, sports event, and an interview with someone famous from that time period. They will use iMovie to make their newscast. I can help them with anything they need, and they will be shown in class. Here's my example video my roommate helped me out with.
Hello, fellow classmates. giant leap for mankind. The astronauts placed an American flag on the moon and came back to Earth on July 24th, 1969. Now to Robert with sports.
And that was my example video, and that's the end of my portfolio. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.